A franchise concocted when creator Haim Saban got inspired by Japanese programming to do a show about kids in costumes fighting rubber monsters with their nice weapons and giant robots. A simple premise that somehow got over big with the kiddies to the point of making a ton of money. A basic requirement for any company wanting to make a video game based on a property, let alone a whole bunch. So it came to pass that 1994 brought about the initial wave of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger video games. Bandai released some platform-based brawling games for the Game Boy and Super Nintendo, while Sega released one-on-one fighting games for the Sega Genesis and the Game Gear. Now, these initial wave of video games ranged from somewhat pretty good to somewhat mediocre, but Sega had another console laying around at the time. No, I'm not talking about the Genesis 32X, although I reckon that a game for that particular unit would have been far better than today's subject matter, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Sega CD. The story of this Power Rangers game is the same as the Power Rangers television show. In fact, the video game is the television show, cut up into little pieces. What the Sega CD version of Power Rangers does is basically pluck several episodes of the television show, cut them into short segments, and build gameplay around them. Said gameplay, and I use the term gameplay extremely loosely here, apparently comprises buttons appearing on screen. You press them to move on. Failing to press the right button in the allotted time or just pressing the wrong button altogether will result in damage being sustained. Who's sustaining damage? Who knows? Who cares? Just press the right buttons at the right time and you'll do fine! Press the wrong button at the wrong time or any time where you're not supposed to press the buttons and you take damage for whatever reason. Lame! Excuse me, that just gets me excited, really. Now, if there was any semblance of interactivity here, pressing a button might change the footage or something to that effect, such mundane gameplay might be given a pass. Barely. However, you're just pressing buttons on screen while a straight clip from the TV show takes place. Whether you make the right moves or not has no bearing on what you see on screen. You'll always see the same footage no matter what you play, how you play, or whatever set of circumstances you can imagine. You can't even compare the gameplay to something like Dragon's Lair, because at least in that game, if you make a wrong move, the game will somewhat change as a result. Whereas here, the wrong move will just cause the screen to shake. And if your meter happens to empty, you'll bear witness to the same failure video of the Megazord falling into a lava pit. This happens every time you lose, even during segments that don't involve the Megazord to begin with. There's difficulty select, which determines the number of button sequences you have to put up with, along with the time allotted for each input, as well as the overall length of the game. Playing the beginner mode ends after the Green Ranger joins the Power Rangers, intermediate mode ends after the Green Ranger leaves the team, and the expert level allows you to play the whole game uninterrupted. And that's about it. In addition, there's also a code that lets you watch the episode clips without any of the annoying button mashing stuff that puts you to sleep. You can sit back and watch some good old Power Ranger clips. Or at least try to. Or at the very least try to. It's no secret that full motion video clips on the Sega CD tend to be on the shit side, and this game's no exception. At best, the video footage is somewhat watchable with heavy grain, but at worst pixelated to the point of being unbearable, especially during scenes with excessive darkness. Just about the only things that's crisp and clear in Power Rangers for the Sega CD are the various score counters and the text, which is a good thing because in the long run, that's all that really matters. Oh well, at least it sounds pretty decent quality for the most part, a bit scratchy for my taste, but it's alright, I can't complain all that much. Perhaps the worst aspect of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the Sega CD is that it has no practical reason for existing, either in the form of a video game, interactive movie, or even just a straight movie. The gameplay is just an over-glorified game of Simon or any other QuickTime button gameplay that is evident in recent games, with no sense of reward or engagement for that matter. You get points and you could go on a high score list, but that's about it. On top of that, this kind of gameplay can and will get tedious to the point where it practically becomes a chore to sloth through poorly rendered video, since there's barely, if any, interaction in the game. No matter what difficulty you select or how well or how poorly you perform, you're always going to be playing through the same video clips every single time, and nothing you do can change that. And while there is a code to watch the movie clips without putting up with the repetitive gameplay, there's generally no reason to do so, especially in this day and age, where you can pretty much find old Power Ranger clips on YouTube, Netflix, or any other streaming video sites in far better quality. At the end of the day, this isn't necessarily the worst game of Power Rangers ever conceived, but it is ill-conceived. Honestly, this might be worthwhile for a lark, and a lark only, and only if you could find a copy of this game for really cheap. But as a video game, or a full motion video interactive game, or an interactive experience in general, there are far far better choices out there, especially within the realm of Power Ranger related video games. This one is just not worth it in the long run. Despite everything I just said about this game, I'd much rather be playing this than Lightspeed Rescue on Nintendo 64. Just saying.